Anyang, I'm back. Okay, Nayeon, ABCD. Definitely, there's a ton of things that I got to catch up on, but I certainly been anticipating this so much since I had waited this long, right, to finally check it out. Um, oh my goodness, yeah. Okay, I've been waiting for this. All right, here we go. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, slow mo. And she looking at me and I like it all. Yeah, no more. 다가오길 기다리는 건 난 my option. Yeah, 내 desire. 원하는 건 갖춰야
Ah.
하는 걸. All I want is love. Love is you. Stop thinking 거부할 수 없을 걸. Hands to me now. You gonna be my babe. Every time you see me 빠져 deeper deeper babe. ABCD 반복해. 하루버릇 love 가르쳐줄게. 너는 들어왔어 in my fantasy. 벗어날 수 없어 나의 gravity. In love, can't get enough. Hey 빠져들고 있어 you're hypnotized. 홀린 듯한 내가 되는 you and I. In love, can't get enough. 넌 따라하면 돼 my baby. 지금부터 I'ma drive you crazy. 쓸쓸한 너와 내 emotion. 자칫하면 성이 끈을 놓쳐. 대화는 필요 없어. 본능이 향하는 곳. Move. 전부 벗어던질래. 진짜 날 볼 수 있게. Feel alive. 떨리는 맘 감출 수 없는 걸. All I want is love. Love is you. Stop thinking 거부할 수 없을 걸. Listen to me now. You're gonna be my babe. Every time you see me 빠져 deeper deeper babe. ABCD 반복해. 하루버릇 love 가르쳐줄게. 너는 들어왔어 in my fantasy. 벗어날 수 없어 나의 gravity. In love, can't get enough. Hey 빠져들고 있어 you're hypnotized. 홀린 듯한 내가 되는 you and I. In love, can't get enough. 너는 들어왔어 in my fantasy. 벗어날 수 없어 나의 gravity. In love, can't get enough. Hey 빠져들고 있어 you're hypnotized. 홀린 듯한 내가 되는 you and I. In love, can't get enough. I don't care and I like it. A to Z you're my type. Yeah, 알려줄게 baby how to like it. 시켜 내게 one by one. I don't care and I like it. A to Z you're my type. Yeah, 알려줄게 baby how to like it. 시켜 내게 one by one. Hey, you gonna be my babe. Every time you see me 빠져 deeper deeper babe. ABCD 반복해. 하루버릇 love 가르쳐줄게.
Oh man, so good, dude. So good. Wow. Oh my goodness. First of all, Nayeon, dude, she's incredible, man. You know, and there's already talk of like Chewy's solo that she's gonna release now. I think it's even been confirmed, unless I was just people were just trolling online or whatever. But that's gonna be incredible. You know, you can look at like some of the melody projects and some of the things that they've done, and actually get a pretty good feel for what like a solo single would be like. You know what I mean? But God, Nayeon's just so like because she's the ace of the group, right? Like she was the one who came along. It was like, okay, well, Naya could do like pretty much everything, right? She could sing, she could dance, she could rap, she's got visuals, she's got charisma, she's funny, like you know what I mean? Like she's just that girl, right? She's just that woman. And I think sometimes, you know, like Gio, when she did Killing Me Good, you know, well, Gio's vocals are so powerful. Like she has a powerful voice, but you sometimes forget like how strong Nayeon's voice is too. And it sounds, there's like the tone has, I think, changed a little bit, and it's probably with time. I think it's just Nayeon's, because she's, you know, the older now, right? I mean, if you listen to pop, and some, you know, some earlier Twice songs and things like that, and you can kind of pick this up with the members. I mean, you can easily track like, oh, you know, that's like early like debut sound, you know, like the beginnings, and then you know, you can hear like the difference later on. But Nayeon, I believe her voice has developed to a certain point. It's like it's so it's got such a healthy tone to it in this, you know, when she has like, I think it's pre-chorus section, which is fantastic. Oh, the rhythms in the, oh man, okay, we'll get into it, but there's just really, it's really fun. Like it's fun, but her vocals, oh man, some of those more legato licks and some of the sustained notes that she has, like it sounds so good, man. It's like it's really strong, and she kind of, yeah, she has this, like it's a more worldly type of, you know, sophisticated like feel to it, you know what I mean? Like it just sounds like this very like strong voice, right? It's just it's really awesome though, man. Wow. Yeah, the song is incredible, dude. There's some really fun rhythms in there. There's some more like almost like a Latin dance inspired guitar work that's going on. You know, some of that staccato, more syncopated, like these little groups in there, right? These fast little strum groups that are thrown in there, and then the bass line. Oh my goodness, dude! The bass line in this, dude, it's so much fun. Obviously, the video, there's a very like Western inspired take. I'm looking at this right here, and I'm getting, you know, like West Side Story. Like I think that's kind of what this set piece is, you know. It's the thing. Everything's in English, right? Like the signs and all that. This is very like classic Western musical inspirations. When it goes to the black and white, they're doing Singing in the Rain. That's, I love all, like, dude, paying homage to some of these classic Western musical things. It's fantastic. I love Singing in the Rain. That's like, even today, I will look up, you know, those different scenes, right? Like when he actually does the title number, Singing in the Rain. He's doing, it's like they're recreating like some of those shots. You know what I mean? And it's fun, dude. It's fun. That's really cool. You know, a lot of the song is in English. I think it's mostly in English, right? I was waiting for when it was going to make the change and, you know, go back into Korean language, and it's a little bit there, but I think it's predominantly like supposed to be targeted more towards a Western audience. At least that's what I'm getting, like the impression that I'm getting. Most of the dancers, you know, like those male dancers, those were pretty much all guys who looked Western. I mean, they're not Korean, obviously, but there's a lot of things about this that are kind of like a sort of a nod to, and it's like, it's really cool because, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised, I wouldn't be shocked if Nayeon has or hasn't seen Singing in the Rain. Do you know what I mean? I wouldn't expect somebody from another country, much younger, to have a frame of reference, even if they were into music, because it's not everybody's bag. You know what I mean? So one way or another, it wouldn't be like shocking to me. But I do think it's cool that they went with that idea, and it's cool that, you know, like, it's a very, very Western inspired song. And it's, you know, a lot of the songs in this, and she really seemed to enjoy it. It was it's just like, yeah, it was fun, dude. It's fun. Even all this, the construction setting, some of these things. There's obviously probably some things that I'm not picking up on. I mean, those are like the ones that stand out to me the most. But there are certain shots in here where like I know I've seen them in their 90s music videos. You know, like a lot of this is throwback. A lot of this is a little bit of nod to things that have come before. Even that funky bass line sounds very 90s, man. Like very, very the tone on that, like it's just fat, wonky bass that's just like slapping around all over the place. But it sounds so cool, man. You guys know Polyphia. I was listening to this, and when I hear the bass line, I can imagine like them covering it, you know, and it's throwing a bunch of like just like having so much fun with it. It's almost like it wants to be that, like the bass line on this, like it's adding enough and keeping it interesting, right? But there's a definite like pull where I feel like, man, like this, like think about the world tour, right? When they did the Ready to Be tour, and they had like the live band portion of the concert, right, where they had all the musicians come out and play. That would, dude, this would be like, for like, she did pop for the solo stage, right? And I'm pretty sure it was with the band. Like I'm almost positive it was with the band. Yeah, because I remember the arrangement, you know, the instrumental arrangement that you could, you know, it was written for that, or you could when they were playing it, you know. And I can imagine this being the same way, like, you know, to go on tour again. So Nayeon's gonna do like ABCD, and if they have like a live band, you know, like the super talented musicians that they had on the tour, oh, like that would be so much fun, dude. That would be so much fun. During the dance break, oh, dude, like it's so cool. There's so many cool moments, and they're doing really interesting things with the sounds in this single here. Okay, and this was just like a trip right here, because you know, I'm like, what is this supposed to be saying? Like, obviously you see the bunny on the hood, right? So you know that this is Nayeon. I mean, that's what it symbolizes her. And she just like, and like she just like takes it head on. So is it like a dream? Like, is she like, you know, like what happened? And then like but she's dreaming of all these different scenes. It's kind of chaotic. It's fun, you know what I mean? But it is interesting. Like how, like what a weird or quirky way to start, like, you know, this entire concept off. So she's like, you know, riding through this Western scene, and you know, wanting to sort of be immersed in it, and she kind of seemingly stumbles into it, right? Like sort of crashes into it. Yeah, that's a fun concept, man. Well, yeah, that dude's like, oh and that guy. Okay, and that was a bus stop, right? It was like, where did all these other cars come from? You see what I mean? It seems very like, is this a dream? Is it like, what's going on here, right? Like, what happened? Like, but it at that point, I think, like, you know, the car crash is supposed to signal, okay, it's a fantasy from here on out, right? But okay, a girl named Nayeon. Yes, very Western. All this architecture, all this is like East Coast, you know, very urban, and a bit old school too. Like, these are older buildings, you know. Like, I don't know if this is a set piece. The street's incredibly narrow. That doesn't seem kind of like normal. So this might be like all just set piece, but it's very well done, man. Very, very well done.
Yeah, slow-mo. And she looking at me and I like it, oh, yeah. No more.
Oh, it was okay, man. All the instrument sounds in this mix, they have a very interesting timbre, right? Like, there are these little arpeggios, these little, you know, eighth note sequences that are going on that are in like a brass sound, a horn, again, some of that Latin dance type of flavor to it. But just now there was a toot 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 toot, right? And it was some sort of like woodwind instrument, kind of fat, like a not like a not a little like a sopranino recorder, but something that's got some weight to it, some body, you know what I mean? Because it's very hollow sounding, and little accent, like these little things that are packed all into this, right? But right away, the percussion, the guitar work in here, you hear that acoustic guitar. It's very percussive. It's not playing these like licks or these solo lines or whatever. It's very fast strumming, right? With a strong emphasis like on upbeats. That's dance rhythm. And it's really more percussive the way that it's used in here. But it does kind of highlight the chord sound, right? What's taking place harmonically at that point. But it's it's like a super fun mix. The percussion is like also super punchy. It doesn't overdo it, but it's like maxed out. I mean, like, you know, anymore, and it would start to just kind of like crush and be very distorted, right? But it's super punchy, and everything has its own flavor, but you can't like miss it. It's really interesting. And then when she comes in singing, right, these English lines too. You know what? Let me go back because I want to see. Okay.
Yeah.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Has she looking at me and I like it all? Yeah. No more. 다가오길 기다리는 건 난 my option. Yeah.
Okay, so she is just completely doing this very syncopated but smooth type of phrasing over it, right? The beat is like, it's so dialed in, it's super tight, but she is just kind of melodically dancing over the top of this, and she's she's reserved more so in like this opening lines, right? Because she's gonna like pop later on. She's gonna like let this out as something that, you know, see it bloom, my desire, like, yeah, this is all about like reaching for something, or like accomplishing something, or, you know, letting go and like actually diving into something, like dive, right? Like the so she's kind of measured now, but she will of course ramp up the dynamic. Things will get more interesting, right, as we move into the rest of the song. But it's just very, it's kind of hot. It has a hot, like, it's cool. I say cool, as in like fashionable, not like but it's very hot. A lot of these sounds are hot. The brass, the guitar. There was a synth bass that came in, right, that was playing kind of like I think an eighth note pulse. It felt like eighth notes, 1 and 2 and 3 and. But also a little bit syncopated. There's some dotted rhythms in here, right? There's some groupings where you have like a little 16th note that's tagged on to the end at the very last beat, and it's the emphasis is on dance sort of rhythms, you know, but it's it's actually a very sophisticated mix, layering of all these different parts that are going on, and it's super fun. It's very, very cool. Okay, and then this black and white portion, like I was saying, this is definitely Singing in the Rain, and it's beautiful. She's doing like Breakfast at Tiffany's, kind of like with her outfit, but then they're also doing the sort of recreation of some of the choreography for Singing in the Rain. So it's definitely a nod to like that era in, you know, that sort of 1950s era in Western entertainment and film. It's very cool stuff. Now, going into that chorus section, that's when I started to notice the actual played bass sound coming in, and it's very, very obvious because there's like portamento, like you can hear this slides, you can hear like, okay, boom, like you know there, it doesn't go boom boom like jump up, it doesn't walk up boom boom boom, like it's like, you know, you can hear, you can feel it, right? It's played bass, but I only noticed it actually enter during the chorus section, but it's such a cool sound. Let me see, let me go back, because this pre-chorus section is definitely doing a lot of work to set you up for the descending bass line that's coming in the chorus, right? It does this wonderful sort of walk down with the chord progression here, and it's not walking down in a way that is like backing down. It's more like somebody making an entrance. They're walking down to the stage, they're walking down to, you know, the entrance, or so, like, you know what I mean? It's like almost like greeting you, kind of, but it's also saying like, I'm here, like, hey, the show has begun, here I am, right? Like it has that kind of that type of intention behind it. But let me see, yeah, most replayed part. So you notice what's going on with the harmony here. Nayeon is singing she's sliding down with her note A, right? A. The backing vocals, right? The harmonies that's going on is doing the opposite. She's doing almost like a counter to that and going A, like it's climbing up, and it's a weird harmonic thing that's going on there, because it's sending you in these two directions at once, but somehow it works, like it doesn't clash. That's really interesting. It's like I can't think of off the top of my head of an example of something that like another song that does this, but it does remind me of a type of harmonic feel from the 90s. Like if I've heard this at any other point in time, it was something that was produced during the 90s, very 90s, very pop, very you know, it's got a strange but undeniably, like it has this undeniable draw. It pulls you in, kind of like catching you between these two sounds that are doing the opposite thing but at the same time, and this is like pulling you in, right? And it's still keeping you kind of scattered a little bit, right? Like, but you feel that pull. And then once you get to the chorus section, like, oh, the you know, the way this unfolds, and once it goes into that descending line that you can really hear in the bass, and then like towards the end of that, or you know, as that's unfolding, that's when you'll start to hear that played bass sound come out. Here we go then. Or I guess post-chorus, right? I guess that's unless it's like you consider it. I want to consider that a whole chorus with two parts, right? Because the first part, it's too antecedent consequent. Like I can't have one without the other. I can't, you know what I mean? Like to me, that to my ear, to the feel of it, that seems like it's all the one part. It just has like two halves. One's the setup, and then one's the, you know, the delivery on it. But it's really interesting. This too. Okay, this, I don't know the reference off the top of my head, but there are certain shots in this scene where they do a blurred motion effect. Nayeon is sitting at the table, but there are people around her who are moving, and it looks like they're moving super fast because they have that blurred, like sort of tracer effect on it, where you can see the path that somebody moved in as they were like walking past the table, and it gives you the impression of like time standing still for Nayeon, right? Like everything around her is going super fast at full speed, but she's like in this place, or like in this moment that is detached from the rest of that time. Also works very well with the way this song is written, because a lot of these parts kind of function that way. They're very, very strong. They all have a very rich timbre, very like a substantial tone, and they're all doing something interesting on their own. And it's like when you add them all together, it has this wonderfully fun, engaging, sound that it creates. And so it's interesting because it kind of like reinforces the idea. Big Little Universe, huh? I'm very curious, man. I'm very like, what these things mean, or what this sort of alludes to.
지금부터 I'ma drive you crazy. 쓸쓸한 너와 내 emotion. 짜릿하면 손이 끊어져. 대화는 필요 없어. 본능이 향하는 곳. 전부 벗어던질래.
All these scenes too. Like obviously, okay, here's the shot that I was talking about. But obviously, the sequence, the library scene, the sort of wedding scene, right? I know these are nods to things in particular. They look very familiar to me, just because they're like Western produced bits or whatever. Like these different scenes. But yeah. So now okay. There is actually what was it? I think like mostly that verse was Korean, right? But mostly English, like for our chorus parts, right? So a lot of hooks, right? Those are being written in English. Some of these verse lyrics, the lyrics in the verse sections. Now those sort of lead more into the Korean language, but the dress, the setting, that Latin dance type of feel, all of these things are sort of indicating that inspiration, and this shot is cool. See. Oh man, it's the bass part. The bass part is like it's really well done. The thing, because the bass is super important compositionally in terms of like the way that a song is written. It's going to determine the chord quality, right? That goes over the top. You know what? Wait a minute. Where am I? 220. Why? Let's see. There we go. Oh, that's better. Jeez, man. Nayeon. Too beautiful for not HD. You know what I'm saying? Okay. Anyways, what was I even talking about? Oh, the bass. The bass part. Super fun. It like it's gonna get more interesting too. This is so cool, dude. This is so cool. So yeah, and your percussion, you're hearing a lot more of like the 16th note subdivisions, right? So your 1 2 right? It's very upbeat. It seems very laid back, and like I said, the sort of sporadic feel of like these different parts. Those horns kind of pop out every so often. That guitar really comes through at certain points. You know what I mean? Even the bass voice too. Let's see, your percussion, yeah, that's mostly 16th notes, and the guitar too, again, because it's being used in more of a percussive manner. The bass, oh my goodness. First half of the song, like up until this point, there's some synth bass that's in there. And when we get to this part of the song, the played bass sound starts to come in and really kind of like almost teases, like, you know, a more like, what'd you call it, legato, fluid, you know, more dynamic and sort of interesting bass line, right? It's like wanting to play. It almost feels like if I were playing that part, I'd be like, oh, you don't even know what's coming, dude. You know, like the end of this chorus, you hear me go, but you don't even know what's coming. Like I'm gonna go off. Like it just, that's the way it feels like to me. It's like this is really, really cool bass part that's coming up, you know. But it's definitely, so yeah. I'm noticing the, sort of like a transition to more played instrument sounds, but everything is handled really well. It's quite a unique sound. It's very, very full. It's got a lot of parts in it, but the balance is perfect. Like it's really fun, man. It's like infectious. It's like just very, very catchy. You know what I mean? But there are hooks written in throughout, you know, every part. That little guitar strum, but right, like that's a hook. That's a hook because you're gonna know, you remember it, and when it gets to that part, you're gonna be like like, you know what I mean? Like that's what it is. And so there are hooks written throughout like this entire track here, and it's really well done. It's really well done, man. It's really well done. See what I mean? Great vocal lick there. Wait a minute. Okay, let me go back. Dude, that's it. This is a great transition. What does that say? The cosmos? Dang it. Something the cosmos, right? Like crossing the cosmos or something like that. Somebody like help me out here. I couldn't catch it. The bass. Okay, so once we get to this part, once we get to the breakdown, the dance break, right? So now you hear this bass player come out, dude, and he's gonna. This is so cool. I love the way the mix just moves completely out of the way. It's not like all those different parts going. Like the bass has the absolute command of everything right now in this mix, right? And it parallels what's going on with the dance break. Now we have all this freedom of movement. Now the emphasis is no longer on like that harmony that was going on. Now this is very much melody, and this is all about like moving sort of uninhibited. It's a fantastically written bass line, and it like just listening to it is a blast. So I'm sure that it's a blast to play also. But listen to the tone on this, right? And then let's catch the splashy sort of reverb that's on Nayeon's vocal lick there when she does that. Like, you know, it lingers on. You hear the taper. You hear that sort of like resonance, right, as it's going through this long reverb. So it's so cool. It doesn't even bounce back. It just fades out. It's really cool, man. Oh, dude, it's so old school. Oh, dude, you heard it right. Like, oh, dude, the bass part's incredible, dude. The percussion in there, you notice the horns, they kind of just peek out, like, burn, right? Like, hey, we're still here. And it lines up with Nayeon's, you know, vocal lick there, right? She has that, oh, and the horns go, burn, right? And that's just kind of like a, it's just fun. It's just a bright sort of little explosion that's in there, right? There's a couple of little parts where that comes over the top, but the bass line, fun, so much fun, dude. This is fantastic, and I think, you know, that played bass sound should stick around for the rest of the mix, if I remember, for the first listen. But it's so good, man. That's for as old school as this song really is, like the you know, all these nods to back in the day, the sound itself, the song itself, the structure, but that bass sound, super modern. That's not like an old school bass guitar. That's a very, very like 2020s, you know, and until now, like that's something that was just made very, very recently, maybe 2018 or so, right? But the tone on that bass guitar, it's just it's so good, dude. It feels awesome. That feels so good to listen to, man. And the percussion, right, playing some of these patterns again, incorporating a lot of that 16th note subdivision in there, so they feel very snappy. Again, staying very narrow though, right? And those sounds, the horns, they get out of the way real quick, right? You know, the bass is doing its thing, and the horns are like, "Bam," but then they're like, "Okay, we're out of here, man. That's it." They're just to remind you that they're still there. That's all. But really, that's so cool. That's so cool. That's got to be one of the coolest breakdowns in a song I've heard in a long time, man. Nayeon. See what I mean? That bass is in there now. Oh, dude. Oh, wonderful Nayeon's rhythms here, like the way her vocal changes up here, right? This is like totally a change up, putting in 3 counts, you know, sort of triplet group feels and everything, and then allowing that bass to do its thing underneath, keeping that bass there, right? Oh, dude. It's definitely that the transition that happens, you know, right at the end of that second chorus section, going into the breakdown. After that bass comes in, it makes the whole mix sound organic. You know what I mean? It sounds tangible, more like closer. You know what I mean? But the vocal rhythm also gets incredibly interesting, and this is like counterpoint that's going on. This is very sophisticated writing. Of course, it looks easy, it sounds fun, and like, you know, I'll just enjoy this, right? There's very sophisticated stuff that's going on in this song, rhythmically, harmonically, the production, right? Like some of the bass tone, just the work to get that bass tone out of there. It's beautiful. It's very cool. This is very, very cool. I kind of love everything about this, top to bottom, front to back. And I mean, it's not like I didn't anticipate that being the case, right? Of course I'm gonna love it entirely. It's Nayeon, right? But this is fun. This is super fun, and that's one of the things about Nayeon in particular, but Twice as a group for sure, right? Is how fun everything is. Is how fun the music is, right? And Nayeon, man, she'll give you a fun time. She's gonna do a song, right? She's gonna record it. She's gonna, you know, release this, and you're gonna enjoy listening to it. It's gonna make you want to dance. It's gonna make you want to sing. That's just what she does, man. That's just what she does. But it's just fantastic, though. Dude, the bass player. Objects in mirror are closer than they appear. 4D. Nayeon. In the Beamer. Okay. Super fun. Very fun. Song and video. So the instrument choices for this song, very, very specific. Yeah, a lot of that Latin dance type of influence with the rhythms that are used, but also the specific instrument choices, right? The the rest is sort of pastiche, Western pop culture, entertainment, music, film. That's where a lot of the inspiration comes from. And she's driving, you know, in the West. This is Nayeon's. She's kind of like setting out to conquer, you know, the Western Hemisphere is kind of what it seems like, right? But it's very well done, man. It's very well done. Jeez, okay. I'm just coming back now. You know what I mean? I'm back in the JYP practice rooms, as you can see. But it's gonna be fun, you know. I'm gonna check out Dive, but I don't know if I'll be able to. I'll do the video, but those things, the Japanese releases tend to get blocked, or at least partially blocked. Like it'll be available in some areas, but not all. And there's no way to get around that. You know what I mean? I love the Japanese releases because they're always so good. Like there's just something about them, the way that they're written, the way that they're produced. They're so good. So I'm looking forward to that too. There's some Time to Twice stuff that, you know, I need to catch up on as well. Like I haven't lost track of it. I've been watching, you know what I mean, and keeping tabs on everything that's going on. But we'll get to it. We'll get to it for sure. But this is excellent. This is a fantastic solo release from Nayeon. My goodness, dude. I'll tell you flat out, in truth, right? This is 100% accurate, okay? Any member of Twice can do a solo album. It doesn't matter. They can all do it. They all have the ability to do it. It's whether or not they actually want to do it, right? But any of them can do it, and I hope we get that eventually. If you know, it doesn't have to be some massive magnum opus concept album with 20 tracks that are all somehow related. I mean, it doesn't need to be that. It doesn't. All they need to do is just put down whatever they want to put down. You know what I mean? Whatever comes natural. You'll see that with Tsui's solo. You know, when that drops, you'll see. But you know, believe me when I tell you, any of one of the 9 members of Twice could totally kill a solo album. Totally, dude. Like, I mean, dude, it would be so cool. It would be so cool to have, you know, your album collection, your K-pop album collection, and okay, here's all my Twice albums, right? From The Story Begins, you know, up to Ready to Be, you know what I mean? Or With Youth, right? Like all these, and then you have your solo albums too, right? And like, just imagine having like at least one from each member. You know what I mean? Nayeon's already got 2. Okay, fair enough. It's Nayeon, you know, but you could put them in order. You know, you could put them, you know, Na, Jang, Mo, you know, Saji, Mi. That you could do that, and it would be fun. I'd pay for it. You know what I'm saying? Like I would buy all 9 of those albums. You know what I mean? You can do that with anything. I still want those throwback 90s sweaters. You remember those ones that they like? I don't remember what it was for. I think it was for. It wasn't here in the States. It was like maybe in Japan or in Korea. But they had these like primary color sort of jersey sweatshirts. You know, each one with like their individual color, and they just look so cool. An old school 90s like style. You know. But it was so, and I don't think they ever released those as merch. If they did, I would have bought all 9 of them at once. Like I would have bought all 9 of them at one time. Dude, just take my money. That's it. Like, but it would be the same thing with if every member had a solo album. Yeah, you know I'm gonna have like the entire group's work all laid out there. But it's because they're so good. Just like this, Nayeon's ABCD, really interesting. Like this is super. This is one where I'm gonna listen to it for a very long time, and I'm gonna hear something new every single time that I listen to it, and then in a couple of years I'll listen to it again, and it'll hit me in a way that I never even like heard, in any of the times I listened to it before. It's very, very interesting, man. It's superb writing here. Okay, like this is really, really. It's so good. It's the composition on this is incredible, and then when you have an artist like Nayeon, who's Nayeon, right? Geez, man, with those two things, like that's all you need. But then again, you have top of the line production and musicianship for the rest of the album, and those are the things that make this so incredible. Okay, those are the aspects of it that actually make this as fun as it is. So, oh my goodness, it's it's gonna be busy. It's gonna be busy, man, because I have a lot to catch up on for sure. But that was Nayeon's ABCD, a fantastic solo single release. Man, it like this they don't miss. They don't. I'll never. Like I'm still just so amazed whenever Twice does anything. Solo album, no, really, Japanese, Korean. It don't matter. It don't matter. It doesn't matter at all. They just keep getting better and better and better, and yeah, this is no exception. It's just continuing on that path, and it's incredible, man. Nayeon, ABCD, dude. Okay, this is gonna be fun. The comeback is gonna be fun.